Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the DFO DFS Hockey Report. It is Friday, November the 14th. Hope everyone's having a fine Friday afternoon. Zach, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing all right, man. Yeah, it was a little bit of a busy morning. Had to run some errands today. Had to build some showdown lineups, and I'm hoping that Matthew Wood can carry me to be, a couple $1,000 richer today.
There you go. Matthew Wood, captain spot, was never in doubt for me either. Projected extremely well. If you were in the DFO DFS Discord, we shared our projections for that slate, but we're only going to break down the 3-game slate, main slate for tonight's DFS contest. Zach, the car on fire outside of your house. It turns out yesterday that was, in fact, a precursor for what was to come in the evening. Last night's slate was just an absolute tire fire, as many people pointed out. It might be in the chat. And yeah, it was a gong show. I did not do well. There was just like upsets and weird guys scoring tons of goals, and I didn't find myself in the right spots at all. I think you had a slightly better night than I did, at least, but hopefully better things to come on tonight's 3-game slate. We do always say on the show, some 3 and 4-game slates are built different than others, and this one is certainly on the shittier end of the spectrums, but we will do what we can here today. But before we get into it, if you want a chance to win a $25 gift card to Nation Gear, pick up some DFO swag like this hat right here, all you got to do is drop a comment in the comment section of the video, the live chat during today's show, and we will do a draw at the end of the show. We will also do the hat trick pick challenge as always. But before we get into tonight's slate, we've got 2 $25 gift cards to give away at the top of the show. For one was for the Matthew Wood hat trick on Monday. So let's give away. Everybody's got a 1 in 12 chance today. Who's gonna get it? It is, oh my God, it is Graham B. I think it's the first time we've seen Graham B in a little while this week. He's back in business. Welcome back, Graham, and congratulations. Please reach out to me on Twitter at Brock_Seguin, or if you're in the DFO DFS Discord, still reach out to me there. So Graham B wins our first giveaway of the day. Is giveaway day here on the DFO DFS Hockey Report. Our second Hattie was for, who was it again? Simon Nemec. How could I forget? Simon Nemec on Wednesday, and that one's gonna go to Shannon Brown. Wins again. Shannon, if you're with us, please reach out to me. I don't believe you reached out to me on your last win, so technically we owe you $50 in DFO DFS gift cards. So congratulations to Shannon Brown on winning our second giveaway today. As always, all you got to do is comment in the live chat today. We'll give it away another one before the end of the show. Let's get into tonight's 3-game slate. The goalies. Obviously, we've got Pyotr Kochetkov likely back between the pipes as that kind of crazy 3-headed monster of a goaltending rotation continues in Carolina. Thatcher Demko out for the Vancouver Canucks, so Kevin Lankinen becomes their new number 1 goalie for the next couple of weeks at least. Kevin Lankinen gets a start for them this evening. It's going to be Jordan Binnington coming off of one of his better performances of the season, going up against Sam Ersson for the Philadelphia Flyers. And then in the late game tonight, we've got Karel Vejmelka against David Rittich. Zach, the one thing that's so interesting before we get into it about Karel Vejmelka specifically is like he is just so inconsistent. Like, this is a good team, a good defensive team. He's so inconsistent, and I dove into some of the numbers this year for him. This year, he has 6 starts over a .909 save percentage, and 4 of those are over a .925 save percentage. So 6 good starts, 4 elite starts. He has 6 starts under an .895 save percentage and 3 starts under an .800 save percentage. So, like, it's either just super good or super bad with Vejmelka right now. So just keep that in mind when you're playing him tonight. He's either like elite or just terrible. Is very inconsistent. Zach, would you like to break down Carolina, Vancouver, or would you like to take game number 2?
You know what? I'll break this one down. No problem. We got the Carolina Hurricanes hosting the Vancouver Canucks. Got some West Coast teams swinging through Carolina here. The Edmonton Oilers will be there, of course, tomorrow. Carolina tonight coming in minus 255 favorites on the money line. Heavy favorites, 3.9 implied total for them, 2.4 for the Vancouver Canucks. I think this is kind of an interesting game. And honestly, I kind of think this is an interesting slate. I think you've got some really interesting spots across the board here, and this game is certainly one of them. Carolina 2 grading out with the best rank here in this game tonight. Vancouver 1 close behind at 3rd overall. Carolina 1 coming in 4th. Vancouver 2 down at 13th. And Carolina 3 coming in at number 9. Taking a look at the matchups here, the Carolina side definitely favored here in this spot tonight. Carolina 3, tremendous matchup. Carolina 3 night tonight, maybe. The top 6 also grading out pretty well in terms of the matchup scores. For the Canucks side of things, it's kind of about average. Nothing to write home about here. Top line has the slightly better matchup score than the second and third lines. Vancouver 1 has really been chugging along here as of late. I know you were on them a little bit before everybody else got on them, banging that Connor Garland drum. They're projecting for about 14% ownership tonight. I think this is a really interesting spot to get a little bit of ownership here on this Canucks top line. They've been playing some solid hockey as of late, still wanting to see a little bit more goal scoring here coming through for them. They also correlate well on that top power play unit with Pettersson and Garland there. They have the 3rd best power play matchup on the slate tonight. Evidently, Carolina always going to grade out well. Certainly reason to have ownership within this top 6 for these Hurricanes. We've talked about them a lot. A guy like Seth Jarvis has really been coming on as of late here. Same with Andrei Svechnikov. Since they've been bumped up to that top line. Nick Ehlers finally starting to put some points up on the board here. That shot volume continues to be excellent. He's still shooting just 6.3% on the season, though, so still due for some more offense to come his way. And Stankoven, he's been fine. Jackson Blake, been a bit of a shot volume darling so far this season. So I think I've got interest in a couple of spots in this game. Evidently, the top 9 for the Hurricanes all look like they're in good spots. This third line, I'm probably going to get to them a little bit here tonight. Drawing very low ownership with that 100% matchup score. That seems like something we love to target here. I've got interest in playing them, a little Jordan Staal, Jordan Martinook, a combo to save some salary relief. And I think for me, it's this Canucks top line is kind of the one to target on this side of things. The matchups are tough across the board here for the Canucks. But these line stats for the second and third line just nowhere near as strong as it's been for this top line. And, again, like, the Hurricanes have had some issues defensively, especially that top line this season, giving up 3.4 goals against per hour of ice time. Vancouver 1 going to see 33% of their ice time going up against that top line for the Hurricanes. Evidently going to be difficult in those other 32% of their time on ice going up against Carolina 3, who's been a stout defensive line for such a long time. But this seems like a bit of an interesting game here, Brock. What are you thinking about this one here?
Yeah, super interesting. Probably, I shouldn't say probably, definitely my favorite of the night. I've been very interested in the Vancouver Canucks as of late. That top line, as you mentioned, has really come on strong as of late. I mean, you're just getting ridiculous shot volume from Evander Kane right now. Elias Pettersson looks better. Connor Garland, always kind of a favorite of mine. Shit the bed the other night, 0 shots on goal. That's pretty rare for him. 4.33 expected goals for per 60, 44 scoring chances, 21 high danger chances in nearly 75 minutes together so far this season. So they've been unbelievable since being put together. If you take a look at 5v5, the 5v5 metrics on Sports Logic, for the season, the Canucks are kind of not great. They grade out 29th overall in terms of 5v5 expected goals for per 60. But in the last 2 weeks, they are top 6 in the NHL. 6th best, actually better expected goal numbers at 5v5 than Carolina over that stretch. But Carolina, they're still top 10 during the last couple of weeks. They're number 2 on the season. And the Canucks have really, really struggled defensively. And then, with Kevin Lankinen getting the start tonight, I think there's, all the reason to pile on the Hurricanes again tonight. For the season, the Canucks are dead last in terms of 5v5 expected goals against per 60. And then over the last 2 weeks, they are also dead last. So they are a team that is just giving up a ton of chances, but the offense has been great. This looks like a very high event game. I've talked about it. This is not the same Carolina Hurricanes that we're used to seeing. 23rd in 5v5 expected goals against for the season. A little bit better as of late, top 12. So they are starting to round into form a little bit. But I think the way the Canucks are playing right now, specifically that top line, it's a line that I'm definitely going to get to. I think there's other parts of this Canucks team that look okay tonight too, like Brock Besser, Kiefer Sherwood, minis are fine. Jake DeBrusk continues to fire a lot of shots on net, generate a lot of quality looks. He's just 4,700. I don't mind him as a one-off option. I think the one thing that's really, really interesting and really worth monitoring tonight is that Quinn Hughes is a game time decision. I literally had to go through all the different Hugheses in my head there for a second. Quinn Hughes will be a game time decision tonight. He missed practice yesterday, but was on the ice this morning. I think he's going to play. But if he doesn't, you just got to downgrade the Canucks as a whole. He is obviously a huge play driver for them. So I'm going to certainly be building around Vancouver 1 primarily. I will probably limit my exposure if Hughes ends up being out. Luckily, it's the first game of the night. We can make those pivots, but I do think he'll play. On the Carolina side of things, I've been playing the second line a lot. $13,700 is still far too cheap for them. They're generating 4.1 expected goals for per 60, 34 scoring chances, 13 and a half high danger looks. That's just in 50 minutes since they've been put together, but they've been dominant. Very reminiscent of these, Hurricanes teams that we've seen in recent years. The top line chugging along, no surprise. Jarvis, Aho, Svechnikov have had a lot of success together in the past. 3.4 expected goals for per 60, 29 scoring chances. Like, they've been really, really good as well. So those top two lines, those are the two of my main focuses tonight: Carolina 1, Carolina 2, and Vancouver 1. Like, those are three of my top 5 lines on tonight's slate tonight. I'm super interested in this game. That being said, I do think we talk about it a lot, that Carolina 1 is a line that you can kind of take a chance on smaller slates. They are certainly capable of putting a couple pucks in the back of the net on a small slate like this. And with the 100% matchup score, I don't mind getting there at all. They're going to see a ton of this top 6 of the Canucks, which has not performed very well defensively. So, this is a very gettable Canucks team. I think you want a lot of exposure to the Hurricanes this evening, and I think it'll be through literally all 3 lines. You don't have to go crazy on Carolina 3, like 5-10%, and you'll be over the field. You can kind of get creative and jam in a shitload of high-priced, high-floor, high-ceiling players with them. In terms of the power play matchups, we mentioned them a little bit already, but 2 of the top 3 matchups there as well. So obviously small slate, but the matchups look good here, right? This is the Carolina Hurricanes power play that's drawing a lot of expected goals, drawing a lot of chances, just not converting quite yet, but they're going up against a PK that struggles to keep the puck out of the back of the net. So really nice matchup for that power play. The Canucks power play has been really good, but again, if Quinn Hughes is out, you got to downgrade them there. Any final thoughts on this one before we move on to game number 2?
No, summed it up pretty well there.
Well, you didn't give me much time there. And then just listen to our guy BBC. Reminder to comment if you want a chance to win a $25 gift card to Nation Gear at the end of the show. Let's get to game number 2, the St. Louis Blues and the Philadelphia Flyers. It'll be Jordan Binnington versus Sam Ersson. Zach, you have been long saying, I just stack whoever is playing against the St. Louis Blues this year. Are you going to be in on Philadelphia? They grade out 8, 10, and 11 ahead of St. Louis tonight. What are you doing here?
Yeah, pretty ugly spot to say the very least. But I'm a man of my word. I will be stacking the Philadelphia Flyers tonight. I don't think it's a terrible spot for Binnington, solely because of the fact that he's had a lot of success against Philly, which is kind of really random. 9 games played, 5 wins, a shutout, 220 goals against average, 923 save percentage. But his numbers just continue to be abysmal on the year. 873 save percentage, negative 7.3 goals saved above expected. It doesn't look like a great spot here for the Philadelphia Flyers, but I think I'll be getting to some of them for sure, especially Travis Konechny, who has been absolutely on fire as of late.
Yeah, we saw some new look lines. I said I hope these stick around for a while. They did not do anything against the Oilers. They've already changed those lines. It's going to be Mishkov, Couturier, Konechny on that top line. You're going to have Tippett with Dvorak and Zegras, and then you've got that third line still together. I think that third line makes a lot of sense tonight. It's another one of those slates where it's like, okay, you can kind of get to that third line. But both these teams really struggling offensively. Over the last 2 weeks, the Flyers ranked 26th in terms of 5v5 expected goals for. The Blues are 30th. And then obviously the Flyers have been very good defensively all season. Number 1 on the year number 2, on the season, but 8th over the last 2 weeks. So still playing very good defensively. I don't really trust this Blues team. They haven't got a lot going on, offensively this year. I think when I look at the grand scheme of this slate tonight, I'm pretty much going to target the other 2 games a lot and probably not play a whole heck a lot of this game. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of goals to come in this one. I think, at most, we're going to see like a 3-2 hockey game, most likely. The over-under at 5.5. and the under is at minus 114. So really not expecting a lot of goals in this contest. The underline or the implied total is extremely low as a result, obviously. So quite honestly, I don't envision myself getting to much of this game. I think, as you mentioned, I think the goalies are probably in okay spots, but I think it's becoming increasingly more difficult to trust Sam Ersson, and Jordan Binnington has been as inconsistent as they come this season. But when you think about it, like obviously, if we're gonna have maybe a shootout in Carolina, I just talked about Vamelka, and we know David Riddick is obviously pretty inconsistent. Like your goalie options are extremely limited, and I think it, at least from my perspective, is boxing me in a little bit to kind of go into this game with Jordan Binnington at 7,900 and Harrison at 7,500. I think that it's going to be a lower event, lower scoring game, so the volume might not necessarily be there. But I think they're both safe options in terms of like relatively low goals against. But implied totals be damned. There's also the opportunity for both those goalies to just shit their pants and make some viable plays here on this slate. So I don't know. Long-winded way of saying I don't really know how much stacking I'm going to do in this game, but I do think that there are plenty of decent value options. You mentioned Konechny. I think Mishkov under 4K. He's really starting to find his groove. Nice one-off option at 3,900. I don't mind the idea of a Mishkov Konechny mini as well. I don't really care about Couturier, just not a lot of a floor. I think I'll play him a little bit, but then on the other side, obviously Snuggerud at 3,600. You've got Robert Thomas, just no volume, but at 5,600, he's getting to the point where it's like, whatever, I'm just going to play him. Dvorsky obviously has looked pretty solid in a somewhat limited 5v5 role, power play 1 at 3,200. So I think there's a lot of value. I mean, even Kyrou at 58. I think there's a lot of value in this game in terms of kind of like one-offs or like little minis, but I'm not really getting too carried away with this game. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I think for me, my preferred route in this game is kind of just some mini stacks or some one-offs. I don't really love this game a lot, but I mean, it also feels like just because of the goaltenders here, it could kind of be an ugly, high-scoring game. The problem is I just don't really know entirely where the offense comes from, like especially on the St. Louis Blues side of things. I mean, they've just really struggled to find any kind of consistent offense this season. So like that's kind of why I think that the mini stack routes are okay here. My preferred one is probably a Holloway Kyrou mini just because they've had the best floors as of late here. I'm okay with a little bit of Snuggerud, a little Buchnevich up top there. This third line, they grade out with the best line stats, but they're still not great. And I just don't know how much you can trust, Braden Shen, whose name is in the rumor mill, Pius Suter, and Matthew Joseph to really get it done for you tonight. So I think a lot of one-offs for me in this game, on the Philly side, Michkov, Konechny, like you mentioned, Trevor Zegras, I think that's an okay route. Bobby Brink on that third line looks to be okay as well. That's probably the route that I'm going to go with this game and hope that, these other games are the ones that really, really can take off offensively.
Yeah, to give you an idea, according to my model, the two lowest expected goals this evening: Philadelphia second lowest, St. Louis lowest. So really focused on these other two games. Let's get going here with game number 3. We got the Mammoth hosting the Islanders.
Yeah, we have Utah coming in as the minus 200 home favorites here, 3.7 implied total for them. New York Islanders visiting on the second half of a back-to-back, plus 178 on the money line for them, 2.6 implied total. Utah won, grades out tremendously well tonight, looking to be the highest owned line on the slate. Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley, and Nick Schmaltz grading out number 1 overall. Utah 2 not far behind, coming in 5th. New York 1, 6th. New York 2, 7th. Third lines, 12th and 14th, respectively. This game seems kind of interesting to me. The Islanders did better last night against the Golden Knights than I think any of us were expecting. I know you and I were both pretty heavy on Vegas last night. I mean, I'm probably going to have a pretty good amount of ownership on this Utah side of things for sure. This top line looks to be in a tremendous spot tonight. Goes without saying, they've been tremendous this season as a whole. I think there's good reason to have interest in the second line here as well of Utah. Utah 3 looks like they're in a good spot again here tonight. I mean, they've got a strong matchup score. The line stats continue to be excellent. They got on the board with a goal or two in their previous game on Wednesday against whoever it was. I can't even remember
Sabres,
now.
I think.
Yeah, I think the Sabres. So I think they're an interesting option to kind of get back to a little bit here tonight. Lawson Krause continuing to provide the best floor of the three right now. This Islanders side of things, I mean, this top line is getting it done. Like Bo Horvat is having a tremendous season so far this year. Emil Heineman continuing with a solid floor as well. Palmieri, you can kind of take him or leave him. A guy like Heineman projecting for just like 3% ownership tonight feels way too low, considering how solid he's been as of late. So I think he's a great value option at $3,500. As has been the case, don't really have as much interest in the Islanders' second line here. And everybody knows how I feel about the Islanders' third line at this point, especially Anders Lee. Score some goals.
I thought you were going to go a little longer there. But yes, Islanders' third line is your favorite line in hockey. The top line, since Kyle Palmieri has been put up there, really solid for the Islanders. They had success with basically whoever's on that other wing. So obviously a lot of it's just coming through Bo Horvat. But Horvat and Heineman, 2.9 expected goals for per 60, 32.5 scoring chances this season. They've been good. Some sports logic data here for you. Over the last 2 weeks, the Utah defense has kind of taken a hit. These two teams are 25th and 24th in terms of 5v5 expected goals again. So, two kind of below average squads. I think what's super interesting, Utah does a pretty good job. Like they're very low event in kind of what they allow. Like they don't give up a ton of shot attempts or shots on goal for that matter, but they give up a lot of quality. So I do think the Islanders can still get there. Like I'm not sure there's going to be like a lot of shot bonuses being hit by the Islanders tonight from guys like Lee and Palmieri and Horvat, who you're kind of used to being up there in the shot volume. I think that might be limited a little bit tonight, but the Utah Mammoth are still giving up plenty of quality. And the offense for both these teams, Utah, on the season, 6th best in terms of 5v5 expected goals for, 4th best over the last 2 weeks. The Islanders offense really starting to come to life here. They're top 12 on the season and 12th over their last 2 weeks. So it's an offense that's starting to peak a little bit. And I think that this is a matchup that they can get there. And I think, of the kind of lower owned options tonight, the Islanders are certainly very low owned. And I think that they're probably positioned as good as anybody on this slate to have a little bit of success this evening. Obviously, a really tough back-to-back after a hard-fought game against the Golden Knights last night, going into Utah now. But I think that, there's definitely reason, especially to get to this top line at 7% ownership. Like you said, Kyle Palmieri provides a really nice floor. Horvat's been great. Heineman's just so cheap that you might as well play him in that stack. I don't know how much I'm going to get to the depth pieces of this of this Islanders team. The third line does have the best matchup, so maybe a little bit of Anders Lee one-off. But again, reliant on the shot volume with Lee and hasn't really been converting. But I'm just going to pull up the stats here. In terms of 5v5, Corsi against the Utah Mammoth are best team in the league, only giving up 50 shot attempts per game. In terms of shots against, it's just 22 per 60 at 5v5. So they're doing a super job, and that does worry me with guys like Lee. On the other side of the puck, I mean, the Mammoth, are just, I said it the other night, really got off to a hot start. The shooting percentage was sky high, bit of a PDO heater to start the season, came crashing down on a shitty road trip, but we're able to take advantage of a really nice matchup against the Sabres. I think they can do that again against a tired Islanders team that is just not defended particularly well on the season, second worst in 5v5 XG against, 24th over the last 2 weeks. So a team that's not playing great. David Riddick has just not performed very well either. He's kind of like Karel Vejmelka, where he's either just great or shit. This year he has 2 games where he's got a save percentage of 940 or better, and 2 games which he has a save percentage below 825. So it's so hard to predict what you're going to get from these 2 net miners, but like there's a chance that both of these guys have below 900 save percentages this evening, and the goals are fruitful. So I'm super interested more so in this Utah side of things. The power play matchup is as good as it can get. The worst it's interesting. You mentioned it. David Riddick's the one with the really good penalty kill save percentage, which is just bizarre. But when it comes to like expected goals against, the Islanders give up more of that on the PK than anybody in the league. So really like this matchup for the Utah Mammoth tonight. Going to pull up their power plays here. It's a lot of just kind of their top dogs. You've got Cooley, you've got Keller, you got Schmaltz fully correlating on that top power play unit. So Utah 1, certainly my favorite, but I don't mind getting to Utah 2 either. Really cheap, 14,300 for what you get. If I had to leave somebody off, it would definitely be Barrett Hayton. Paterka's been just solid. I still kind of waiting for Paterka to break out in his new home, but Gunther's obviously a stud at 65. So very, very interested. And then obviously you mentioned them already. Pretty good floor with some upside from Utah 3 without question. So yeah, this one and the Vancouver Carolina game, definitely going to be heavy on. And then just that other game, I honestly just could care less. Any final thoughts about Utah or the Islanders before we get to the defensemen and the goalies?
Yeah, good shout on the power play. Good shout on the power play here for Utah. They look to be in a great spot. Feels like they're due to kind of turn it around here. I mean, these guys on the power play are just too good to not to. They're too good to be as poor as they've been this season. As we move on to the defensemen too, Mikhail Sergachev grading out extremely well from a value perspective tonight.
Yes, sir. I'm just trying to pull up the power play metrics here for the Utah Mammoth really quickly and see how they are performing. But let's get to the defenseman. While I do that, we've got, let's see here. So Utah has scored, the second most goals scored below expected. So it's a power play that's generated a ton of chances this season and not quite converting on the on as many as you might expect they should. And then I'm assuming, let's just see, this could be like a kind of perfect storm where the Islanders PK they have the most goals saved above expected on the power play this year. So it's kind of like a real smashy spot here where if both things kind of level themselves out, the positive regression sets in for the Mammoth and the negative regression sets in for the Islanders on the PK, could be the perfect storm for that power play this evening. You mentioned it. Mikhail Sergachev grades out tremendously well. Matthew Schaefer does as well, both in that game, both going to see a tremendous amount of ownership. Keandre Miller continues to grade out well. Somebody like Shane Gostisbehere should grade out better. The minutes are definitely wrong here. I'm going to fix that in the charts, but that's just due to the fact that he got hurt twice in 2 games this season. But $4,700 for him. I don't mind him on that Carolina power play. Really want to get access to that Carolina team through the defenseman. Gostisbehere, Walker, Nikish, and Miller, all viable tonight. The St. Louis defenseman, I think there was like one game last year where Cam Fowler was chalky and he absolutely nuked. So if you want to go there, I don't mind him. That's like another one of these like strong, decent value options tonight from that game that I'm fine to one off. But again, the stacking is going to be relatively limited. In terms of just really cheap guys tonight, Ian Cole, John Marino, Phil Broberg, grade out well, Nate Schmidt as well. Anybody that I missed that you're hot bothered by this evening?
I think you kind of summed most of them up pretty well here. Super punty defenseman Tom Willander, 4.9 blocks per hour. He's got an opportunity to eat a couple pucks tonight. Marcus Pettersson, also at $2,700, has been okay at times here as of late. But Cole Marino, probably my favorite cheaper guys here on this slate tonight. But yeah, otherwise I think he summed it up well. I think for me, there's some interesting value options on this slate tonight. So I think a lot of my ownership is kind of going to be in these, top 4, top 8 value defensemen that are listed here.
Yeah, you bring up a tremendous point there. It's really just a soft pricing slate. Quinn Hughes is expensive, but then like the defenseman cheap, but then even the forwards, like no one's, I think there's 2 players over 7K. Yeah. So I don't think there's a tremendous need to pay down for defensemen tonight, but obviously if you want to pay down and then get creative with some of your forward stacking, you can do that, of course. But really just a soft pricing night where you are going to be able to fit in a lot more together than you normally would. Let's take this is the wrong sheet. Let's take a look at just like the overall stack, like 19,100, most expensive stack on the slate. So really kind of soft night tonight. Zach, Darren wants to know which defensemen do the most shit tonight.
Ooh, my favorite thing. In terms of shit doing defensemen, Nick DeSimone, surprisingly, with his 2 games played, leads the way for me in terms of that. Ian Cole, Justin Falk, Quinn Hughes, Matthew Schaefer, Keandre Miller.
It's interesting that Ian Cole and John Marino still project for so many shot blocks, despite how well Utah limits shots against. It's bizarre that they just they limit shots against, and then you still just have Ian Cole standing in front of everything. How do you get anything through against this team?
7.5 blocks per hour of ice time for Ian Cole this season. John Marino, just 2.6 blocks per hour. So, I mean, if you're looking for the shot block upside, I think it's definitely on Ian Cole there. Alexander Romanov, also a good shout there for a shot block guy at 3K tonight. 6.6 blocks per hour of ice time for him. I agree, though. It is kind of interesting to kind of see that, right? So I think some other guys that could work too, you know, the Carolina defensemen, as you mentioned, Sean Walker, Nikishin, Keandre Miller, Ghost. I think those are all good options too.
Obviously, a team that shoots the puck a ton. The Hurricanes, like all those shot block guys from Vancouver, I think you got to give up on tonight too, right? Like you've got Myers, you've got Pedersen. Those guys are going to stand in front of a ton of pucks tonight. Vronic as well, all super cheap. I like those guys from the Canucks tonight. Let's get to the goalies. Talked about they're pretty sketchy. Kachekov grades out the best. I do think that that's a little bit of a sketchier situation. Obviously, if Hughes is out, Kachekov gets a nice bump. Vejmelka, I want to play him, but I just have been burned a lot. He's so hard to trust. I'll definitely have some, but highest on goalie in the slate's a little scary. Binnington 49 and Binnington 7,900 and Ersson 7,500. I think are two of my favorites tonight. I'll probably get to a little bit of Lankinen just for all that volume at 7,200, but he's obviously risky. And then Riddick is scary. So these goalie options tonight are very frightening. I think Kachekov, Binnington, Ersson, maybe a little bit of Vejmelka for me. I'm assuming you feel somewhat similar. There's nobody that I look at tonight that feels great.
Yeah, I mean, nobody feels great on this slate. I mean, from a numbers perspective, Kochetkov is probably the best play, but he's only played in 2 games this season. 3 games
really
played
good
against Canucks in his career. 1 win, 294 goals against average, 885 save percentage. Lankinen has not done well against Carolina in his career. 3 wins in 8 games, 385 goals against average, 886 save percentage. You know, Ersson in 3 games, great numbers against St. Louis. Binnington, 9 games, as I mentioned earlier. You know, Vejmelka's done well against the Islanders. I mean, I think for me, I'm just going to kind of spread my ownership around pretty evenly on the goaltenders here tonight because it doesn't really feel like there's one that's jumping out as like a great play above the rest.
All right, let's get to our hat trick pick challenge. Last couple minutes here to get your live chat in for tonight's draw. So, Zach, let's go to you first. Who is your hat trick pick this evening?
Anders Lee.
Oh, wow. Anders Lee, your boy Anders Lee is the hat trick pick. He is as due as they come. I'm going to go. The other night I had Clayton Keller over 2.5 shots as Brock's lock of the day. It did not hit. And basically the entire game, it looked like he could have had about 10 shots on goal and just kept passing and kept passing and kept passing. Tonight, I think he's going to shoot the puck. I'm going with Clayton Keller as my hat trick pick tonight. If you want to comment your hat trick pick in the comment section of the video on YouTube, if your player scores a hat trick, we'll get you a $25 gift card to nationgear.com. Pick up some DFO swag. Beebs, if you're with me right now, have we got everybody's name in for today? Message me if we've got everybody's name in, and we will rip this draw. That's not the one I wanted to do. This is the one that I wanted to do. Let me see. Are we got everybody's name in? Think so. All right, let's rip it. If I missed your name, I am so sorry. I am, and we do. All right, thank you, Beebs. If your name is not in here, blame Beebs, not me. Here's our third $25 gift card winner of the day. And no way, 2 in a row in one show. 2 in one show. Graham B, congratulations. Unless it was a different Graham B that won, because that name is different. So maybe it's a different Graham B. No, it's got to be the same guy. Anyways, Graham, reach out to me on X or the DFO DFS Discord. Speaking of the DFO DFS Discord, you can join the Discord channel by big day for Graham B. Absolutely. Clicking the link in the description of the video on YouTube. Join the Discord. It's growing every day. Honestly, Zach, like how hot is that Discord right now? Like the amount of winners we're just on a night-to-night basis, just bonkers right now.
It's awesome, man. We've got the Wall of Fame channel up in there, so everybody gets to share all their winning slips. tons of people coming and joining every day. We've got the DFO DFS Discord league game as well. So that contest is live right now. 10 of 25 entries have filled so far. So like this Discord has been amazing, man. It's such a good resource. So many people in there that are watching hockey all the time, keeping up on the news. It's definitely the place to be if you're playing NHL DFS.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we had somebody take down the $4 last night for 2K, a couple other big slips. Somebody in there even took down 5K in the NFL slate. It's been buzzing as of late. Oh man, Grant B, most popular guy in the chat today. Everybody wants them to buy him a sweater. The other things in the comments or in the description, we've also got $20 off Roto Grinders Premium. If you want to take everything you learned in today's show, run it through their optimizer, you can do so. $20 off the first month of Roto Grinders Premium, and always shout out to them for providing projected ownership for today's show. Oh, Marsharks. It was him that won the 5K in NFL. Yeah, Marsharks is an absolute, I was going to say dog, but he's just an absolute shark, dude. And then if you want to get 20% off of Action Network Premium, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of the video on YouTube. But that's going to do it for this edition of the DFO DFS Hockey Report. It is Friday, so cheers to you. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there. We will see you back here on Monday. Another fun week of the DFO DFS Hockey Report. And yeah, obviously the best way to kind of interact with us on the weekends, if you want to get some action in the DFS streets on the weekends, is through the DFO DFS Discord. So come on in, join the party, and we'll see you guys back here on Monday. Until then, cheers.
Cheers.